2, 1, 2, ready. Yeah, that's how we're starting this thing off right here, y'all. That was Alabama A&M right there, man. Tonight we got somebody special on. We have none other than Mr. Carlton Wright of Alabama A&M. He will be joining us shortly. If you are new to this channel, thank you for joining us for the first time. This is Meet Me on the 50. This is Thursday, the Director's Corner. We do this each and every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this gives you an opportunity to get to know the men and women behind these band programs, man. We've had some legends on this show in the past. Tonight, this will not let you down. Mr. Wright, man, he has a long resume in this band thing right here. I can't wait to get him on. But let's go ahead and pull up this promo for the Battle for Birmingham Battle of the Bands, hosted by Meet Me on the 50, going down September 15th. Go ahead and check this out.
Hello, everybody. This is Carlton Wright. I am Director of Bands at Alabama A&M University. Excited to let you guys know that we're going to be representing at the Battle for Birmingham at Legion Field on September 15th, 2019. Come on out and support us. It's going to be a great time, and we're looking forward to seeing you there.
Talking about, man, September 15th, man. You do not want to miss this event. It's going down, man. Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Talladega, Tuskegee, Miles, Stillman. You don't want to miss these bands, man. It's about to be crazy. All right? So, yeah, Battle for Birmingham, BOTB.com. I'm running a little promo right now, man. For the first 30 days, from now till July 15th, I'm giving away 2 tickets a week. All you got to do is go to Battle for Birmingham, BOTB.com. It's right there at the bottom of the screen. And register your email address. And then I'm going to pick 2 email addresses every week. And you're getting your tickets for free. All right? Tickets go on sale June 15th. So you'll be able to buy them coming June 15th, man. Can't wait. All right, enough of that. We about to go ahead and get started, man. Let me go ahead and say what's up to the chat room. And we're going to get Mr. Wright on the phone. go, man. Hey, good to have y'all. Go ahead and share this out. We don't have nowhere near enough people in here.
What's going on, brother?
Oh, you there? I hear you. I hear you. Hey, Mr. Wright. All right, welcome to the show. 1 second. Let me get you on the screen, right, so everybody can see you.
All right, not a problem.
All right. Let's see here. All right, there we have it, man. Hey, this is Mr. Carlton Wright, man, head band director, the band director for Alabama A&M University. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, man. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Man, I'm glad to have you on, man. I couldn't wait to get this show going, man. It's been a long day at the JOB, man, but, here we are. We made it.
I understand. Well, actually, I'm at the JOB still right now, man.
You still there. I was just there about a month ago, y'all, man. That office, he had some memorabilia on them walls I wanted to take with me. I said, man, I can't, Actually, hold on. One thing I forgot to ask you.
Okay.
Man, I was a little humble asking, but when I went to Stillman and Miles, I said, look, I need something to take with me. So next time, because Mr. Snipes, he gave me a hat, and then PJ gave me a shirt, and then Dr. Oliver gave me a calendar, Bama State calendar. So when I see you, speaking of which, I'm gonna be down there on Wednesday. I'm gonna be in town on Wednesday next week. So I gotta come past to see you.
Will you be in Huntsville or Birmingham?
Birmingham, but I'll make a trip. You're only like a couple hours up, so about an hour or so up. So I'm gonna come holler at you on Wednesday.
Hey, the same distance my way. I can come down and holler at you as well. I'll have you a little care package.
All right, yeah. I was like, Dad, I didn't want to ask. You had so much stuff on that wall in that room. I said, no, I can't be that guy. I said, let me get a shirt, Mr. Wright. But
no, we'll be happy to get you a shirt and a hat.
Yes, sir, man. So welcome again to the Director's Corner. This is, a show we do to give the fans and viewers a chance to get to know the band directors, people who lead in these programs that they are fans of. So, again, thanks for being on the show, man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Problem.
So where are you originally from?
My hometown is Montgomery, Alabama.
Montgomery. Okay, so you are Alabama. You from Alabama, tried and true.
Right.
Okay, so Montgomery, and your primary horn, you told me, I know what you play, but go ahead and let the people know. What's your primary instrument?
This is my baby right here, trumpet, man.
Yeah, so you've been playing for how long? When did you start playing the trumpet?
Well, actually, I got a late start. I started playing in the 8th grade, and I've always wanted to play trumpet. But, back in those days, in the 70s, early, mid-70s, wasn't a whole lot of money floating around, and I was into some of everything, playing basketball, doing track, doing a little football, and Mom said she wasn't about to waste any money, so I finally convinced her to buy me a trumpet when I was in the 8th grade, and I got started late, like I said, and from that point, I knew exactly what I wanted to do from the first note.
Yeah, because, you gig as well. You still playing, right?
Not as much as I want to. I was talking to you earlier. Christmas season is coming around, and there'll be some gigs floating around in Birmingham that I'm going to take up on. So I got to get my chops ready now, because once band camp starts, there will be a very little playing at least. Oh. So I got working on that now.
You ever had to show up a student on that horn? Like anybody ever came through, in school? You say, hold on, give me that horn. Let me show you how to play this thing for real. You ever had to show somebody up in front of everybody?
Back in high school when I had time to practice, when I was teaching high school in Birmingham, when I had time to really sit down and practice, I would take a passage and show the kids how to do it, modeling this big in education and things like that. But right now, I don't really have to do that. So my practice is just for personal gain right now.
Right. So what college did you march at?
Right here at Alabama A&M University.
Wow, man. So you helped build this program from start, as a student all the way up to as a director.
Well, the foundation was laid before I got here, and pretty much the handprint and footprints of the directors before me are still here, so we're trying to follow that pattern of tradition, and also just kind of you have to evolve with the times, but hold on to some traditional things that's going on with the university in the past. So we try to keep that balance well at hand.
Yeah. So how long has the MMW been established at the school? How did that band start up there at the school?
Well, our band history goes back to 1890.
Wow.
Yeah, William Grant Steele Sr., not Jr. The noted composer is William Grant Steele Jr., the orchestral composer. Well, his father, William Grant Steele Sr., was our first band director. And after him came W.C. Handy. A lot of people don't know our history about that, but I'm proud to put it out there. Our program will be 130 years old next year. So we got a big celebration coming up there about that. After W.C. Handy was a gentleman by the name of Wade Hammonds. Mr. Hammonds was the first black band leader in the United States Army. And yeah, so we have a deep history in our program. James Wilson was the band director that followed him. Then followed by him was Thomas Dawson. Now, Mr. Thomas Dawson was the one who was actually put the first marching band on the field. Thomas Dawson.
Dawson, okay.
Following Mr. Thomas Dawson came one of my great mentors, Mr. Barney Smart. And he is the one who coined the phrase marching maroon and white, MMW.
What year was that when he was there? What years?
I think Mr. Smart came here in 1972.
Wow. So the style that we see today in 2019, you know, he had a lot to do with what we see, or that was a progression, obviously, over the last 100+ years.
Right, absolutely.
Are there traditions that you still see today that we would have saw over 100 years ago? Stuff that's still there, or
Well, as far back as I can recall, it would probably go back to Mr. Thomas Dawson when he first put the band on the field. I'm sure Professor Smart kept some of the traditions that Mr. Dawson laid down. And, as years go by, things kind of progress and evolve. But overall, I think that pretty much what Mr. Smart instilled into the band program is still here. Yeah. And just getting back to our band directors, we have two more before I came along. Mr. Arthur Wesley was my Arthur Wesley was my band director following Mr. Smart. And after Mr. Wesley retired, I think in 2009, Mr. Derek Yates took the helm, and he held it until I got here in 2013. So this is where we are.
Yeah. I mean, I went down, everybody watching, I was down in Birmingham, about a month ago, and I traveled up to Huntsville to see Mr. Wright. And when we got there, I expected just to kind of meet him and kind of go over the battle of the bands and things like that. But, man, he told us, look, get in the truck, I'm going to ride you around the school, and we going to learn. And he took me to something like different parts of the campus that was, it was actually where slaves were sold, right? You were telling me there was a spot right there on campus that they can't even, it's a what'd you call it? Not a national treasure, but something that can't be touched, right? It's something that's just
national historic landmark.
Right, it's a landmark where slaves were actually sold at, and that's on the campus of Alabama A&M. On top of that, the founder of the school, his children are buried behind the band field. You want to tell a little bit about that, Mr. Wright?
Right. Our band practice field is on the northeast side of the campus, the farthest end of the campus. And that's the old stadium where the football team used to play games at back in the day. And it's also the practice field that we utilized when I was a student here. Excuse me. And in the back of the practice field, on the north side of the practice field, there's about 6 graves out there, and a few of those graves, I think a couple of those graves are the children of our founder, Dr. William Hooper Council. And I think 2 of his children are out there. One of the Buchanans, I'm not sure of the exact history of Buchanan, but there's a Buchanan Hall here on campus, and one of their descendants is buried there, as well as an infant that was born in, I can't remember the year, but they died like 7 or 8 months later. So that child is buried there as well. And Thomas Elmore, who our gymnasium is named after, he's buried there as well. And as story goes, there's also some unmarked graves out there of slaves and things of that nature. So I'm sure all over campus, heck, I might be sitting on top of an ex-slave right now or a former slave right now. So, I'm sure that at that time there are many bodies that were perhaps lynched and, whatever.
Right, right.
You know how we think in those times.
Yeah, in case y'all can't tell, man, Mr. Wright is definitely a history buff. When we got to the school, you were watching The Roots, matter of fact, weren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the Netflix special that's everybody's talking about, When They See Us? Have you got a chance to watch that yet? About the Central Park Five?
I have not. My daughter was telling me about it. She said, "Daddy, you need to watch this." So I'm going to watch it probably over the weekend and just check it out.
Yeah.
But real quick about Roots, Mario always teases me because he says all I would like to do is watch old slave movies, and that's true. I like to stay on my history. It keeps me grounded,
Right.
And to know where we came from and where we are now, and just not take all of this that we have for granted.
Right.
And we're still behind the times. If you think about it, we're still behind, but we're not where we were.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, just talking about just knowing where you came from. Who are some of your mentors that's helped you along the way? As a director.
I go all the way back to my junior high school days in Montgomery at Carver Junior High School. Mr. Johnny Lowry was my first band director at Carver Junior High School, and at that time, the Carver Elementary, Junior High School, and High School were all on the same campus, just connecting buildings and things of that nature. So, Mr. Lowry was my first band director, and most influential band director at that time was my high school band director, Mr. Curtis Hollinger. He is the one that really pushed me to become the musician that I am now, as far as my early development in music. So then I moved on to Alabama A&M with Mr. Hollinger. Mr. Arthur Wesley. And from there, I went to grad school with Barney Smart. But even not formally being educated by some of these guys, I always stayed in contact with some of the greats. Oscar Watts, the late Oscar Watts, who was a band director in Tuscaloosa. I met him in All-State my sophomore year with some of his students who made All-State and who eventually came to Alabama A&M. Professor Edward Graves at Tennessee State. He was very instrumental in helping me to become a better band director. Arthur Means down in Birmingham, who was band director at Carver High School and also at Miles College. And it's so many. Prof. Lyles, Thomas E. Lyles down at Alabama State University, where I grew up. All those guys had a hand in helping me to become the band director that I am now, or the musician that I am now.
So the names that you name, are these directors that you worked for while they were mentoring you, or were you at different schools and they were more competitors, or how'd that work out?
I never worked for some of those guys, like Prof. Graves at Tennessee State. When I was teaching at Fairfield High School, I used to take my band up there to the homecoming parade, and I met Professor Graves and invited him to come down a couple of times to speak at our banquet. And he also brought the Tennessee State University Wind Ensemble down to perform at our school at Fairfield High School. Mr. Watts and Mr. Means, they were never my instructors. I never worked for them, but, they were instrumental in helping me to become a better band director. Mr. Means is a church member of mine at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, and we have a small orchestra there that we play on Sundays. And again, when I was at Fairfield, I used to go and just watch Mr. Means teach and just ask him all kinds of questions. I know I got on his nerves, but, I appreciate him for taking the time out to help me to become a better musician.
Yeah. Speaking of wind ensemble and jazz ensemble, I had a follow-up question about that. But real quick, can I see that sign right there behind your left shoulder right there, man? It's a white and blue sign right there on that door.
You know what?
Let me see something real quick here. I thought we talked about this, Mr. Wright. I thought we talked about this, man.
We did. You want to see my caps also?
And look, but you got the burgundy on almost right now, so you're almost a Redskins fan right now, pretty much, man.
Never.
Almost. Hey, so speaking of wind ensemble and jazz ensemble, what's your take on? Obviously everybody's fan of the marching bands and things like that, but what's your take on the importance of the other ensembles at a school.
Right. And I'll start there by saying the HBCU experience is mostly about the marching band. That's what everybody is praised about. Now we've got the all kinds of battles, gym battles, and springtime battles. My take on that is that you've got to develop your musicians to be better players, and you do that by sitting down working on fundamentals such as tone, technique, and teaching the students how to read and how to navigate through a piece of music, and to perform it to the best of their abilities, and to just make the music sound great. Just make great sounding music, whether it's marching band, wind ensemble, jazz, or chamber music, whatever the case is. So my thing about that is during the second semester of the year, my approach to band is to make sure that we put the absolute best students that we have in the wind ensemble, and other students who are not quite at that level, we put them in the symphonic band, and we work the symphonic band on those fundamentals throughout the second semester. And we'll challenge them with a little concert band literature, and Mario keeps some marching band things on the stands for them just to make sure that they understand the balance between both idioms of music and both styles of music. So we just try to make sure that they get a great understanding of that. But with the wind ensemble, we really put some challenging literature in front of them, and it's all about performance. And my whole thing about that, Eddie, is that we have, and every HBCU, I'm sure, PWIs, we have students who are learning how to become successful band directors. And if all we give them is marching band, then we're defeating the purpose of them coming to college and learning this craft of how to be a successful band director. Because some school systems now require that the band on the second semester go to concert band festivals. And, they're going to be graded by a panel of peers. I'm an adjudicator, and I've judged many festivals before, and we have to go in and grade these bands and the band directors on how well they're doing on basic concepts of tone quality, intonation, technique, rhythm, all these concepts that we're doing in marching band. We just have to be able to put it on the stage so the students will understand, hey, when I become a band director, this is what I have to know, this is what I have to do. And going back to those guys who mentored me when I first started teaching, Mr. Means, Mr. Watts, Professor Graves, my high school band director, Mr. Hollinger, Mr. Wesley, Mr. Smart. I always had a chance to pick up the phone and call them and ask them questions about this. How do you improve intonation? How do you improve sight reading and things like that? So that's my whole thing about the wind ensemble era, is that you become a better musician, both in knowledge and theory and practice. And when the first semester rolls around with band camp, you're ready to start putting things together to make the marching band better.
Yeah, the fundamentals, everything's laid out already. Everything's good to go for the fall, man. So that's perfect. So as far as the state of Alabama, we doing this battle of bands. Let's go ahead and get to that real quick before we get to my next question. But the Battle for Birmingham will be going on September 15th at Legion Field. I started out the show with your 30-second clip talking about it. What's your view of the event? What do you expect out of it? What's an idea of what we can expect from Alabama A&M on that Sunday?
Well, first of all, thank you for bringing this event to Birmingham. It's been a long time since we've had anything like this. Again, I go back to my early days of teaching when Mr. John Ray had the Southeastern Battle of the Bands, and it was basically a high school battle of the bands, which was good in what it did. But now this platform with nothing but university bands playing, and you can talk a little bit more about how you're going to involve the high school, but primarily the university bands are playing. It's going to be a great outing for everybody. And as far as what we're going to do, we're going to do what we do. We're going to lay down some good sounding music. We're going to flex our muscles, and we're going to soothe the crowd with some old school, some new school, some funk, some thug music. So we're going to play what people want to hear.
Right. Y'all one of the more diverse bands, man. Y'all can definitely play the marches. You play like you said, some crunk stuff, everything, man. So I'm looking forward to that. The state of Alabama is powerhouse. You got Stillman, you got Miles, you got Alabama A&M State, you got Talladega and Tuskegee. How does A&M, how do y'all separate yourself from the pack? From that many strong programs. What's some secrets to your success, and how do you set yourself apart?
Well, again, we go to those fundamentals. Not that they're not doing the same things that we're doing in their band rehearsals, but we have a formula here that works for us in terms of how we prepare. We make sure the kids, I say kids, we make sure our students are thorough in understanding how to do what we need them to do fundamentally, and we transfer that learning over to the music. So we spend about 25, 30 minutes warming up really good and tuning on and doing rehearsals. And we charge our section leaders to make sure that they put those things into place in their sectional rehearsals. So fundamentals is our approach to that. And once we get inside the band room or get on the practice field, we just drive really hard for total practice. Our practice day is about 3.5 hours during school. And because we want our students to be successful in the classroom as well. So we don't do all the all-night practicing. By 8:30, we're out of there.
Yeah. And, I visited a couple of campuses, actually many of campuses over the last year or so. And when I came to see you, one thing that was unique was some of the bands have their band practice field right outside their band hall. Now A&M, y'all, this is not a spoiled band right here, y'all. What's that trek about a good half a mile to their practice field?
It's about a good half a mile.
And it's uphill.
A little bit less than a half a mile and a little bit more than a quarter of a mile. But, it's A&M sits on the hill. That's why we call it the hill.
Yeah.
It takes about a good 10, 15 minutes to walk up there. And I feel sorry for my percussionists and tuba players during band camp because we march everywhere we go during band camp. We march from here to the cafeteria. We march from here to the practice field. And it's all endurance. It's getting us ready for the season. So
Yeah. So if you notice that A&M is in, better shape than some other programs, there's no secret behind it. That's why, they get their exercise in, man. They get to that field. Outside, let's see. I spoke to assistant director Mr. Mario Warren, man. I mean, he's gonna be on the show at some point as well. But what can you say? What can you say about Mr. Warren?
Mr. Warren is a great guy. I've been knowing Mario for about, I guess, 10 or 12 years now, and we were playing when I was at Fairfield Minor High School, one of those schools. We were playing one of my rival buddies, Mr. Dwayne Moore, who's band director at Winona High School, and they were playing a song. And I'm like, man, your arranging skills and stepped it up a notch, Dwayne. So, anyway, Dwayne was telling me that he didn't write that. He said Mario Warren wrote that. I'm like, who? He said Mario Warren out of Tennessee. He went to Tennessee State. But anyway, long story short, I got Mario's number from Dwayne.
Uh-huh.
I called him up that next day and said, hey, man, look, I played Winona. I enjoyed the music. What else you got out there? So he sent me a few charts and everything. So from there, he was my arranger because at that point I was writing pretty much 90% of the music for myself and my band. And when I heard Mario's arrangement, I'm like, okay, this is what I want my band to sound like. So I've got to do everything, and my name's got to be on this, be on that. So, whatever's going to make us click, that's what I want. So that's how we.
I'm sorry. And you said he went to Tennessee State, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, last season, I think one of the first games of the season, y'all met up with Miles College, I believe. Was that one of the first games? And
yeah.
I was actually asking this question to Mario because I thought this was his doing, but he said this was your doing. But there was a big old saying by the band saying, "Welcome to the SWAC, Miles." That was all you, I heard, huh?
Yeah, that was me that time, bro.
Yeah. So what had been some of the more heated battles that you can recall, or more memorable battles, between your band and other bands over the last, let's say, year or so?
Well, I think last year was a great time for us. We started out the season with Miles College, and that was a great game and a great friendly battle. And later on, I think we went up to Cincinnati and played there. But, it wasn't PWI bands, not the same as HBCU bands, but
Nah.
we had a time on the road up there, and I think we did. Well, I don't think I know we did the battle with Southern University down in Mobile. So, and of course, Alabama State. That's always a great time with the Magic City Classic, our #1 rival. But I think the battle at Southern really kicked our season into gear. Our students were always, we've always wanted to play Southern, whether it was there or here. But, our dollars only stretch so far.
Yeah.
We're not able to go on. Like, we would love to go to the Southern, and we're not scared. We love to go to Southern. We love to go to Texas Southern. We love to go to Prairie View when we played those guys. But, our budget just would not allow us to go there. For instance, buses to Texas Southern would have cost us about $40,000. Same thing with Southern, about $35,000. That's for buses. That's before we lay anybody down in the bed or give them a fork to eat with 6 times over the weekend. So that trip could have easily just ramshacked my entire budget, either one of those trips. So we just have to pick and choose where we go.
Yeah, absolutely. You said you mentioned the Southern matchup from last year. Last week I had Brian Simmons, assistant band director from Southern, on the show, and one of the talking points was about I guess a moment during that game when he struck up "Torture," the song "Torture." He said, "You know what? When I play that song, the band can direct themselves." So he went ahead, ran on the field, and ran over to the Alabama A&M side. Man, when this went down, what were you thinking when you saw that go down? What was your thoughts when you seen Brian Simmons marching across the field to your side of the field?
I actually didn't see him until he got in front of the band, and just out the corner of my eye, I saw this blue uniform coming. I'm like, what is this Negro doing? Initially, I was thinking ill of it, but I'm like, no, this is cool. I mean, it's just one of those things that happen in the HBCU band, and it's going to be one of those moments that's going to live forever. So, I didn't find anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I think I was telling somebody, had it been 20 years earlier, I probably would have picked him up and 8-5 him back to the field. Hey, it is. So Brian was a great, talented young man. I did listen to his interview. He did a great job, and he's doing some great things down there at Southern. So hats off to him and to Kedrick. They're doing a great job down there.
Absolutely, man. They are. So over the last couple months or so, there have been 2 selections for 2 SWAC bands, Grambling State and Mississippi Valley State, for head band director. Dr. Roebuck down at Grambling and Dr. Simon over at Mississippi Valley State. And they both happen to be female directors. Both first, I think they're the first of, they've never been female directors at either of those schools. So what are your thoughts on these 2 selections right here?
Man, I think it's wonderful. And as a matter of fact, I reached out to both of those ladies. I called both of them, but I was able to speak with Dr. Roebuck at Grambling last week, and I just kind of welcomed her. And even though she's already been here in the SWAC working at Grambling, and we talked for a few moments, and I told her if there's anything that we can do to assist, just feel free to call. And the same day I called Dr. Simon at Valley, but there was no answer. And I emailed her, and she emailed me back thanking me for reaching out to her. So, I think it's great that we have some diversity in our conference. And I know these ladies are going to do a great job. Mario, I think when he was at Whitehaven, he followed Miss Dr. Simon. She was the band director at Whitehaven at that time, and then Mario took the helm from her. So I welcome them with open hands.
Oh, so you're familiar with Dr. Simon's work already? Then it sounds like.
Well, not as much, but Mario says she's a great teacher. So if that's the case, I am familiar with, because I trust Mario and all the guys that work with us.
Yeah. Coincidentally, today, early this morning, I reached out to Dr. Simon saying, look, I got to get you on the show next week. And she was 100% down. She said, "I'm actually a big fan of yours. Meet me on the 50. I can't wait." So she's going to be on the director's corner next Thursday. Dr. Simon from Mississippi Valley State, man. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, yeah. So what I'm going to do right now is I always look through the comment section, and a lot of times some of the fans will post some questions for you. So let's see what we got here real quick.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any student arrangers?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have several student arrangers, and they are honing their crafts. And we put quite a few of their songs on the stands. And it's a net flying around in here.
Okay.
My thing is this: all arrangements have to be approved before they go on the stand. They'll bring them in. I'll look over and listen to them and get my point of views about it. But with Mario being our chief arranger, he has the final say so because that's why we pay him. He's our arranger. He writes the music for us, and he's guiding our young people to become better at that craft. So we do utilize quite a few of their arrangements.
Yeah. Good question just came out. Some of the a lot of the schools actually starting to do this, but kids who want to go to an Alabama A&M but happen to live in Virginia or in North Carolina, they're waiving these out-of-state fees. Is that something that's being done at Alabama A&M right now?
Unfortunately, it's not being done across the board. From what I understand, the state of Alabama has a law that states that we have to charge the out-of-state fees, which is crazy to me. And we're starting to feel the crunch from that. Jackson State waived their out-of-state fees. I was listening to Mr. Little's commentary with you the other week. I think Alcorn has dropped their out-of-state fees. Tennessee State has a 250-mile radius that they can reach down into our territory over into Atlanta, and just 250-mile radius that they can recruit and waive out-of-state fees. Now, what we do have in place is this. It's a normalized scholarship for out-of-state students. If they have a composite score with their GPA and ACT score equaling 20, then out-of-state fee scholarship is applied through the normalized scholarship. And let's say, for instance, they have at least a 17 on the ACT, and they make a at least a 3.0 on their GPA. Then at that point, anything 20 and above, they qualify for an out-of-state fee waiver. So we try to go after those students first as far as reaching out for out-of-state students.
Got you. That was asked by Quan. I think, Quan, you from Florida, right? I believe Quan from Florida. So he is a graduating senior, so he's looking for a school home, I believe, man. So he plays sousaphone, I believe, as well.
Great.
Yeah. All right. So Sydney Davis asks, will both bands be at the Gulf Coast Challenge this year? Are you going to be at that event? Yes,
we're going to be there. There's some things that are developing. I'm not at liberty to say right now, but we definitely will be there.
Okay. Donald Donaldson asks, what is Mr. Wright's opinion on the summer bands and mass bands in regards to the young musicians?
Well, I have mixed emotions about it. There are some mass bands that are doing things really well. And there are some that are just about blowing and just blowing, and that's not what my philosophy and my educational background is about. I've been criticized about having our band sound like a white band or whatever the case is. When I first came here, someone said that we sound like a mixture of Bethune-Cookman and Minor High School, where I came from. And my comment to that was thank you, because I think those were some great sounding bands. But overall, I think that the purpose of the mass bands is good for what it does. I just wish that more of the guys would work on concepts of reading and tone quality and take the time to help the kids to become better musicians rather than just all out a blast fest. So, it's fun to the kids, and I get that, but at the same time, make it educational as well.
Right, right. And I think, outside of it just being fun, it's a great way to raise awareness, man. Because I was talking to some of the kids in Birmingham when I was down there, and then what I was getting from them was that band just isn't as high on the priority list of things to do nowadays in high school. They have a lot of the dance teams, a lot of the different things that's kind of starting to move in that lane, man. So one thing about the summer bands, I say you're right that it's a lot of blowing, a lot of overblowing, and throwing out a lot of fundamentals. But it's also keeps their interest, going into the fall. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, man. So you got to deal with a lot of reprogramming, I'm sure, come fall, right? Come band camp, right?
Yeah, I'm sure some of the kids that are coming into our band program will be in some mass bands, and we'll just have to take that time during the first couple of days of band camp to develop our concept of tone quality and things like that. But it'll come around. I mean, at least with the mass bands, overall, the kids do have the horns in their hands, and they are getting some practice time in. So that's a good thing in itself. So I'm not knocking them 100%, but just as far as the tonal concept and approach to music, I think that can be improved with some of the groups. Like I said, the some out there just is really I'm really impressed with. So just hope somebody else just move on to that track.
Yeah, one question just came up. I was going to ask something similar. I've been working with a lot of your alumni in the Alabama A&M War Room that I created. I'm not sure if you even follow my thing I do called Band Bowl on my channel, but it's a virtual battle of the bands that I do, and it's allowed me to kind of work with the individual band programs, a lot of their alumni and things like that. Joe was one of the ones that I spoke to you about, Joe Merck. Right. So the question was, what role do these alumni play in your band program success? I heard the alumni fed your band in Charlotte when you went to Charlotte.
Okay, we have a great band booster program that has really been supporting us over the years, and they help with our university budget. For instance, like Joe just said, when we went to Charlotte, they fed us. When we went to the Honda Battle of the Bands a couple of times, they fed us, pizza, chicken, whatever the case is. I can't remember all the spots that we've eaten at, but they helped us out tremendously on that. Give us snacks to hold us over between trips and things like that. They'll go to Sam's and buy a bunch of snacks and soft drinks and things of that nature. So they've really been supportive. They've bought us drum heads, equipment, maintenance equipments and things like that. So we've got Rashad from Block Band Music. We're getting ready to make a big order from him for percussion equipment for the marching band. So these guys have really been instrumental in helping us, and I don't know how we could do it without them, but I thank them for that. Yeah. Great people.
All right, so one question that I like to ask sometimes is, if band wasn't your lane, if you weren't a band director, if you weren't a musician, what's some hobbies, what's some things you could see yourself doing with your career, or things, what would you be doing if it weren't for music or band?
You hit it on the head a little while ago. I'm a history buff. I'd probably be a researcher of African American history, African history, of whatever, Native American history. I'd probably be delving into some of that because I'm just fascinated by things of the past and seeing how it connects where we are right now.
Absolutely. So for the new director out there, man, he's graduating college. He's going to go, he's getting his first band program coming up this fall. He's prepping for that. What are some keys to success or some piece of advice you give this young lady or young man?
Okay. First of all, you are fresh out of college and you don't know as much as you think you know, because the classroom is not going to prepare you for what you're going to be dealing with. There's no class to teach you how to deal with parents. There's no class to teach you how to deal with the community and things like that. So just reach out to some seasoned band directors in your area or some band directors that you know and trust. But in particular, in your particular school system, reach out to those guys and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's number one. Probably above that would be to make sure that you teach the kids, and you got to put a show together. You've got to put a concert together, but in the process, take the time out and teach those fundamental skills that these students need to develop the tone quality, to develop confidence in sight reading, and just be that teacher. Don't just be about performing all the time. Performance is going to come. That's going to come. Don't seek out every performance you can get into do a battle or whatever, but do those kids a service and teach them how to become better musicians, and they're going to soon find out that they're going to be more mom and dad than band directors. So in a lot of cases, you're going to have to really help guide these kids to navigate them through life, because it's unfortunate that sometimes they don't get the nurturing that they need at home. So you're going to have to step it up in that particular role as well. So that's pretty much the advice that I would give them.
Do you think the new age director is as open to receiving that kind of feedback? Let's get into that a little bit. As far as the age that we're in, when you came up as a band director straight out of college versus the director we're talking about now, do you see a shift or in mentality or shift in relationship building and networking? What's your thought on the band director of today versus the band director of yesterday?
I see a little bit of it on both sides. I know some young band directors who are pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4 years out of school, who are really honing their crafts. They are going to the second semester winter summer symphonic concert band festivals. They're studying and learning how to become a better band director. They're doing the things that's going to make them successful. Mm. So on the flip side of that, I see some guys that are just all about what we talked about earlier, just getting a group of kids together and just have a blow fest. And that's to me is not doing the kids a great service. It's doing them a great disservice. And, again, I understand that it's fun, but you have to create fun through learning. Mm. And, those are the kinds of things that I think that we need to really do a better job as seasoned band directors like myself, to just kind of reach out to all those guys. And, the only thing that they can do is accept it or reject it. And, we can just be that mentor for them. So
right.
Hopefully there's more of that happening.
Yeah. Chris Lucas asked this question. He's saying, what schools would you like to see A&M go up against that they wouldn't often see, such as FAMU or Norfolk? That's a good question.
Okay, well, I did my master's at Hampton University, and, I would love to go up against Norfolk State. I'd like to see Jackson State and Southern a lot more, Alcorn, all the SWAC bands. I'd love to see them. FAMU, I would like to see them, Bethune-Cookman. So just a variety of all the great bands that are around. I would love to do battle with them.
Yeah, what's your favorite MEAC school? Give me like 1 or 2 programs that you mentioned Norfolk, obviously. So what's some other programs that you respect from the MEAC?
Okay, of course, Bethune-Cookman, Florida, North Carolina A&T, Norfolk State, and just all up and down the East Coast, man. There's some great bands up there. Is Morgan State MEAC?
They are in Baltimore, Maryland. Yes.
Yeah.
The MEAC goes all the way up to Delaware. Actually, that's the most northern, I think, MEAC school, Delaware State.
Right. Yes, it's some great schools that I would just love to go up against, man, and just have that friendly battle with them, man. I mean, it's beast mode when you get into it, but at the same time, you have mutual respect for those directors of bands and their staffs, and we're all friends. A lot of times people think that just because you're from a rival school, like Dr. Oliver down at Alabama State, people think that we just hate each other. That's far from the truth. That's my boy. We both grew up in Montgomery, and we've always been rivals. I went to Carver High School. He went to Lanier High School. And, we've always been great rivals. His band director and my band director are fraternity brothers, and they're my fraternity brother. Oliver just messed up and did Kappa, so he'll be all right.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because, I want to say you and I'm having a brain dump right now. Band director at Tuskegee. He just became an Omega, but it's a lot of Kappas that's leading these bands, man. Is Is there a rhyme and a reason behind that? You might be one of the few Omegas that's still leading right now.
Well, John Leonard is at Tuskegee.
John Leonard, right, Mr. Leonard. He will be at the Battle for Birmingham too, y'all.
Right. As far as that goes, I mean, it's just one of those things that rolls around, man. I mean, it comes in waves.
Yeah.
Been a lot of good Omegas that are band directors and that have influenced me. So, and it doesn't matter. Mr. Smart, Barney Smart, my great mentor, he was an alpha, and William T. Robinson, who is right here, I did my student teaching under him. Another great guy that influenced me is an alpha, and Michael Rice, who was on staff here when I was a student. I don't think he plays anything, but he was a great influence. So.
I see behind you have KK Psi and you have Omega on that picture right there. What's your take on KK Psi and Tau Beta Sigma and Phi Mu Alpha, Sigma Alpha Iota? Their influence on the band programs.
Hey man, they are desperately needed because I don't think any band program can run without these organizations. The groups that we have on campus, KK Psi, Sigma Alpha Iota. These young men and young ladies, they really grind, and I know Sigma Alpha Iota is primarily choral based and things of that nature, but we have a few young ladies in the band who are in that organization, and they team up with KK Psi and do some great things. For instance, we had a fire in one of the dorms on campus. I keep looking up at the game, checking out the score.
I'm missing out, man. It's all good though. What's the score? What's the score, Mr. Wright?
Toronto is up 43-38. And
what quarter? What quarter?
This is the second quarter. 7:08 left in the second quarter.
Oh, we good. I'll catch up with it. I should have DVR'd it, man. I don't know what I was thinking. Shoot. But yeah, I'll catch up with them. So yeah,
those groups. I was talking about the fire that we had on campus that displaced some of our students, and KK Psi and Sigma Alpha Iota, the presidents of both groups called me. I was on the road recruiting, and I was coming back that same day. But they said, Mr. Wright, can we do something for the band and choir students that were affected by the fire? I'm like, what do you have in mind? Well, we just want to feed them and things like that. So those kids put their own monies together. They didn't bother any money in their treasures, anything like that. They went and put some money together and solicited some funds. I think I put in about $50. They went out and bought food and fed those kids, man. And that was really touching. And it was storming that night when they did it. So all the kids came down. We opened up the band room, opened up the choir room, and just played music, let them just chill and just kind of, just show them some love. So that's what it's all about with these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is right now I'm going to open up the floor one last time for the chat room. You have any questions for Mr. Wright? We're going to go ahead and get them, they funny. So what I normally do is I throw out some random questions. I didn't do that tonight. Pepsi or Coke, Mr. Wright?
Coke, all the way.
All right. Pop-Tarts or toasted strudels? Neither one. That was a good. Now laters or Jolly Ranchers?
Give me those now laters any day, bro.
There you go, y'all. There you go. There you have it, man. So if kids want to reach out to you or reach out to the band program, they're interested in coming to A&M this fall, how should they go about doing that?
Okay, I'll give them several contacts. First, they can call area code 256-372-4099 or 4095.
There you go.
My email address is my first name, Carlton, CARLTON .Wright, WRIGHT at AAMU.edu. And Mario's contact is Mario, MARIO .Warren, that's WARREN at AAMU.edu.
There you go. And one last question came in, Mr. Wright. When will you have your next auditions?
Auditions are going to be going on, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we have capped out on our scholarships, maxed out on our scholarships. So we cannot offer any more funds as far as scholarships are concerned, but we can offer auditions for spots in the band. Now, as far as the percussion section, that's one of the most popular sections in the band. And, you know, I hate to turn guys away, but we only have 28 to 30 spots on the field for percussionists. I don't use any more percussionists than 28 or 30. And because our band is not big enough to have 40 and 50 percussionists out there, so we just cap it off right there. That's all the equipment that we have. But I encourage the guys that want to audition for percussion to get in the applied percussion class with Mr. Arthur Wesley, who's the former band director here. And then that would be a stepping stool for them to enter into symphonic band or wind ensemble, and then eventually marching band. So I wish that we could bring in more percussionists, but at this point we just aren't able to.
Gotcha. Absolutely, y'all. So there you have it. This has been the Director's Corner with Mr. Carlton Wright, Alabama A&M University band director. It's been a great show. I will see you on Wednesday, sir, coming up. I will be down in town this coming Wednesday, so hopefully we can catch lunch or something.
Okay, be glad to, man. Just holler at me and we can make it happen.
All right, absolutely. And then we're going to close out the show, y'all, with 456 from Alabama A&M. This is from the 2018 season this past fall. All right?
Yep.
And thanks again, sir, for being on the show.
Thank you, brother. Let's get it.
All right, see you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, later. That was 456 by Alabama A&M University, man, from fall 2018. Everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. This has been the Director's Corner with Meet Me on the 50. Our guest tonight was Mr. Carlton Wright. Thanks for asking the questions. Those are some great questions y'all asked in the comments, man. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, like button. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Stick around. You know, we out here every Thursday. Might become more frequently, but for now, it's every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, we will have Dr. Simon, the first female band director at Mississippi Valley State. She will be on the show next Thursday at 9 p.m., man. Can't wait to get her on. It's going to be a great conversation. We're going to talk about, you know, her come up and what she thinks about the fall, the 2019 season coming up. Go ahead and go to Battle for Birmingham, BOTB.com. As you see at the bottom of the screen, go ahead and register your email address, and 2 tickets will be given away every week going forward until September for the battle, man. All right. Shout out to PYB on these beats right here. All right. Go ahead and shut it down like that, man. Like I always say at the end of the show, man, make sure whatever you're doing out here, do it for the love, do it for the passion, do it for the love, man. All right? Everything else, the money, whatever else you're trying to get, that will come with it. But for now, to go ahead and do whatever you do what your heart tells you to do, man. All right? This has been Meet Me on the 50. We out of here, y'all.